There is someone who has never forgotten what you did, and the problem is that you have forgotten. You went on with your life thinking those gestures were lost in time, that word you spoke in a hospital hallway, that money you shared when no one was looking. That night you stayed awake praying for someone who didn't even know about your prayer. That time you stayed silent so as not to destroy the reputation of someone who deserved to be destroyed. That care you gave to a father, a mother, a child, which no one in the family acknowledged. You think time erased it. It didn't, it was stored. And today, May 8th, you will understand why your life is exactly where it is and why everything is about to be reorganized. There is an image that has circulated a lot in Brazil in recent years. The image of the billionaire who never forgets who was kind to him before fame arrived. Stories that go viral every week on social media. The rideshare driver who helped an elderly man get to the airport in the rain and 3 years later received a partnership offer. The hotel maid who treated a guest with dignity and was mentioned in a will. The doorman who heard a confidence during a difficult moment and years later received a letter with a check inside. The image is so powerful that it becomes a headline, and it is powerful because it touches on something your soul already knows. There is a registration system greater than what your eye can see. But I am going to tell you a truth right now that will reorder your entire week. The most powerful figure who never forgot what you did does not have a CNPJ, does not have a mansion in Trancoso, does not appear on the Forbes list. The figure who recorded every silent gesture of yours is Deus. And that is why May 8th matters to you. Not because a date activates a portal, not because the calendar has mystical power, but because today, perhaps for the first time in months, you are stopping to hear a truth that has been looking for you for a long time. In this video, I will give you 3 things that will change the way you view your history.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you, who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
First, I will show you the exact symptom that appears in the life of those who lived significant acts and disconnected from the weight of those memories. You will recognize yourself. Second, I will open up the spiritual and psychological cause of you being stuck, even though you are a person of correct conduct. And third, I will give you the practical solution in 3 steps that opens the path that was dammed up within your home, your mind, and your calendar. In the middle of this, I will tell you 3 biblical stories that prove in cold print that Deus remembers. And more than that Deus is remembering is not a dead file. When Deus remembers, Deus acts, and he is remembering you right now. Before continuing, do one simple thing with me. If you are feeling that this message arrived at the exact moment, subscribe to the channel here now. The subscription is not a number to me. It is the sign that you want to continue receiving the words that Deus has used to find you in this phase of your life. And turn on the notification bell, because the next videos of the week will deal with the doors that open throughout May. And I don't want the algorithm to decide on its own who receives it and who doesn't. Do this and come back here with me. Let's go to the symptom. Pay attention, because you will recognize yourself here in at least one of the 3 levels. The first symptom of those who lived significant acts and lost contact with their weight is the chronic feeling of invisibility. You wake up and have the impression that no one sees what you are carrying. You work hard and it seems like the effort vanishes into thin air. You were kind to people who today don't call you. You helped brothers from the church who today look at you from a distance. You lent money that never came back. You covered up flaws at work that no one acknowledged. You cared for a father with Alzheimer's, a mother with depression, a child with a health problem, and the feeling that remained was that you spent years of your life in silence. When you sit on the couch at the end of the week, that question comes that you never admit out loud. What for? This symptom has a technical name. Psychology calls it moral invisibility fatigue. Research conducted by the Universidade de São Paulo in partnership with the Instituto de Psicologia da Unicamp showed that Brazilian adults between 38 and 55 years old who practice consistent acts of generosity, not publicly acknowledged, develop, over the years, a chronic pattern of silent exhaustion. The person doesn't stop doing good. They just stop believing that the good they did has weight. And then the second symptom begins, quitting without quitting. You continue fulfilling your obligations. You continue going to work. You continue going to church. You continue being the pillar of the family and your network. But internally you have disconnected. The internal light has dimmed. The engine is running, but the heart is out of the circuit. The third symptom is more subtle and more dangerous because it infiltrates without you noticing. It is the feeling that your life is out of phase. Others are at one pace and you are at another. People your age have already bought a house, settled their children, consolidated their careers, built assets, and you, even having done everything right, feel like you are always one step behind. It's not incompetence, it's not laziness. You know you tried hard, you know you were correct. But then what is it? Why does it seem like your calendar is delayed in relation to others' calendars? This is where most people misread, and this is where I need your total attention, because what comes next changes the way you read your entire history, from the beginning until this Tuesday, May 8th. There is a word in Hebrew that you need to know today. It appears more than 200 times in the Old Testament. The word is Zachor. In Hebrew, it is written with 3 letters, Zayin, Kaf, Resh. Translators usually translate it as to remember, but Zachor does not just mean bringing forgotten information to mind. Zachor means to register with effect. It means to remember in such a way that the memory produces movement. When the God of Israel says, I have remembered you, in Hebrew he is saying in essence, I have registered you in the operating system of the universe, and I am about to act from that registration. To remember, in the logic of Deus, is synonymous with moving. In Exodus chapter 2, verse 24, it is written that Deus remembered the covenant he had made with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. The Hebrews had been in Egypt for more than 400 years. They had cried out, they had groaned, they had died making bricks under the Pharaoh's son. They had thought they had been completely forgotten by that God of their fathers, that distant God they only heard about. But the text says, in a short and dry verse, Deus remembered. And what happened next? Moses, the 10 plagues, the crossing of the Red Sea, Mount Sinai, the founding of an entire nation. Deus's remembrance moved an entire nation. That is why when you read in the Bible that Deus remembered someone, prepare your heart. Something is about to move. And today, I believe deeply, Deus is remembering you. Now the cause. And here I need to be direct. The reason why your life seems stuck, even though you are a person of correct conduct, is not because Deus didn't see. It is because the world system operates on a different time than Deus's system. The world rewards what is visible, what is viral, what has a screenshot, what has public evidence. Deus rewards what was done when no one was looking. And here lies a serious problem. When you spend years being rewarded by the world's metric and nothing comes, you start to doubt Deus's metric. You start to think deep down that what you did in secret doesn't count. And when you think it doesn't count, you stop planting. You start to economize kindness. You start to calculate before helping. You start looking at every gesture and asking, will this bring me a return? This is the exact point where the future harvest is strangled at the root. Research from the Fundação Getúlio Vargas and the Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul, in partnership with behavioral psychology institutes, indicates that Brazilian adults over 35 face a peak of crisis of meaning between 38 and 47 years old. This phenomenon has been called the invisible midlife crisis. The person looks back and sees a sequence of unrequited gestures, and then comes the greatest temptation, the temptation to become a different person. more cynical, more closed off, more transactional. I won't help for free anymore. I won't be the fool of the family anymore. I won't cover for anyone at work anymore. From now on, it's every man for himself. And that is exactly where the person closes the door to their own blessing. Psychology calls this phenomenon defensive hardening. Theology calls it murmuring. The Hebrews in the desert on the way to the promised land murmured against Deus when the water ran out, when the bread ran out, when the road became too long. They had seen the sea open. They had seen the pillar of fire by night and the pillar of cloud by day. And even so, in moments of pressure, they forgot. And whoever forgets, murmurs. Whoever murmurs, closes off. Whoever closes off, loses the next provision. This is the silent cycle that needs to be broken in you today, before the next pressure finds you in this same pattern. I want to introduce you to a figure, Cornelius, Acts chapter 10. He was a Roman centurion, a foreigner, a man of military rank, with soldiers under his command, without Jewish ancestry, without formal right to enter the promise made to Abraham. By the logic of that time, he had no reason to care about the God of Israel. He was an occupying soldier in an occupied territory, but the text says carefully that Cornelius was a pious man who feared God with all his house, who gave many alms to the people and prayed continually. Here is the detail you cannot miss. He did it for years, without an awards event, without church applause because there was no organized church for Gentiles at that moment, without direct retribution, without an audience, just the firm continuity of the gesture, day after day, year after year. And one day clearly at the 9th hour, 3 in the afternoon on our clock, an angel of Deus appears. And the angel says the phrase that changes the entire history of Christianity. Cornelius, your prayers and your alms have ascended for a memorial before God. Stop at this phrase, ascended, for a memorial. The Greek word used there is mneia. Mneia means memorial record. It is the same root as the word that gives rise to memory, mnemonic, amnesia. When the angel says mneia, he is saying in practice, every gesture of yours has been catalogued, every coin given in secret, every prayer made at dawn, every time you got up while the empire slept. Everything is in a catalogue that not even you can consult anymore. And today, this catalogue has ascended. And when the catalogue ascends, history descends. In other words, heaven leans over your house. In Cornelius's case, what descended? Peter, the Holy Spirit, the inclusion of all Gentiles in the promise of Abraham. A man no one expected, in a place no one looked, received a visit that reconfigured the expansion of the gospel in the entire world. Because of what? Because of the deposit he made in the invisible bank over years. Cornelius didn't go to the temple to demand, didn't write a letter to Rome complaining, didn't post about his acts of kindness. He simply continued praying and giving, even when it seemed like no one was noticing, and heaven was noticing. Heaven is always noticing. This is the principle that will operate in your life in the coming months, if you don't give up now. I want you to sit with this for a moment. The phrase, ascended for a memorial before God, means that there is an address where your gestures ascend to. They don't evaporate. They don't dissolve in the rush of day-to-day life, in the noise of bills, in the weariness of responsibilities. They have a destination. And they have a file. And the file is consulted at specific moments in each person's history. May 8th, today, can be a moment of consultation. Not because the calendar has power, but because your heart is available to recognize. If this word about Cornelius touched you, leave a like on this video now. The like here on YouTube is the technical signal that this message needs to reach other people who are exactly at the point where you are. There is someone listening to this here now because someone before you liked it. Do your part in the chain. This small gesture of yours will enter the history of another person who needs this word today. Perhaps a sister from your church, perhaps a distant relative, perhaps a co-worker who is going through a dark night without telling you. But Cornelius' story is not alone. There is a second biblical figure who needs to enter this video. Because without her, you won't understand why Deus remembers people at the exact moment they are feeling at the end of their rope. 1 Kings chapter 17. The prophet Elijah is fleeing from Queen Jezebel. The kingdom of Israel is in total drought. There is no food, There is no water. The rivers are dry. The cisterns are empty. And Deus says to Elijah, "Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, because I have commanded a widow to sustain you there." Wait a minute. Zarephath was a Phoenician city, foreign, pagan. And the person chosen to sustain the prophet was a widow, the most vulnerable category of society at the time. Without a husband, without economic protection, without a safety net, without social rights that meant anything. Elijah arrives in the city. He finds a woman gathering wood at the city gate, and he asks for the most daring thing a stranger can ask a starving woman. "Give me a little water." And while she goes to get it, he adds, "Bring me also a piece of bread." And here, the text becomes devastating. The widow answers, "As the Lord your God lives, I have no bread. I have only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a cruse. I'm gathering wood now to make food for me and my son, and then we will die." Can you grasp the scene? This woman was preparing the last meal. It wasn't a figure of speech, it was literal. She had calculated, there is flour for one bread, there is oil to fry. I eat, my son eats, and we die. And Elijah, with a prophetic audacity that seems almost cruel, says, "Do not fear. Go and do as you have said. But make me a small cake first and bring it to me. Afterward you will make for yourself and your son." Here is the critical point. Most people in her situation would have refused. They would have had an absolute justification. "I'm at the end, I have a son, this prophet is a foreigner, I don't even know him." But the widow did it. She put her hand in the almost empty jar, made a small bread, and handed it to the man before feeding her own son. And what happened? The biblical text in 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 16 says, "The jar of flour did not empty, the cruse of oil did not fail," according to the word of the Lord that he spoke through Elijah for years. The widow fed Elijah, fed her son, fed herself, with a supply that renewed itself every day. It wasn't a one-time miracle. It was a daily miracle. She would wake up every day, go to the jar, and the flour was there. Go to the cruse, and the oil was there. Continuous sustenance, tied to a gesture she made at the most critical moment of her life, on a day when no one would imagine that that woman would be capable of giving anything. And there is more. Later in the same chapter, her son dies of an illness, and Elijah resurrects him. This woman entered eternal history because of a gesture she made when she was at rock bottom. Jesus, 1,000 years later, in Luke chapter 4, verse 26, would cite this woman by her original name, the widow of Zarephath of Sidon, to show that Deus remembers people who no one would remember, in places no one would look, at moments no one would choose. There is a second Hebrew word that needs to enter here, and this word changes your reading of what is happening in your home at this exact moment. The word is shamar. Shamar means to guard, to watch, to preserve with active attention. It is the same word used in Psalm 121, "The Lord will keep you." When you make a gesture in the midst of scarcity, in the midst of despair, in the midst of, "I have nothing left to give," Deus activates the shamar in your life. He guards you. He watches over your supply. He preserves what seemed condemned to end. That is why, if your life is looking like the almost dry jar, I need to ask you something that might bother you. What is Deus asking you to give before you eat? Where is the gesture you are delaying because you think you don't have enough to give? Because it is exactly in that gesture made in the pressure that the continuous sustenance begins. Here I want you to do something important. Go down to the comments now and write in capital letters the word remembered. Just that word, remembered. When you write this in the comment, you are making an act of declaration. You are saying, in front of heaven and earth, that you accept the truth that you have not been forgotten, that every gesture of yours is being resumed, that your history is not a sequence of lost gestures, but a sequence of stored deposits. I will read the comments and pray individually for those who write remembered. Do this now before continuing. Don't move to the next part without having done this, because what comes next requires that your heart has already made the declaration. Let's go to the third figure. And this one is special because it is the figure that connects the silent gesture to historical transformation on a genealogical scale, on a scale that spans centuries. Ruth, a Moabite, a foreigner, a woman who had every reason to go back to her parents' home when her husband died. The Moabites were a despised people in Israel. They were considered the product of an illegitimate union, descendants of Lot. And even so, when Ruth's husband died, and when her mother-in-law Naomi decided to return to Bethlehem, Ruth said a phrase that echoes 3,000 years later. "Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people are my people. Your God is my God." And she did it. It wasn't just words. She accompanied Naomi back to Bethlehem, in a city where no one knew her, without family, without protection, without income. And what did she do? She went to glean grain in the field of a man she didn't know, named Boaz. The law of Moses allowed widows and foreigners to glean the leftovers of the harvest. It was the social assistance form of the time. But it wasn't a comfortable position. It was a position of public humiliation. You went behind the reapers collecting what had fallen, under the strong sun with men watching, in a condition of extreme vulnerability. Ruth did it, without complaining, without demanding from Naomi, without posting anything, just serving, day after day, ear by ear. And what happened, Boaz noticed. He asked the servants who that woman was, and look at the servants' answer. Book of Ruth, chapter 2. It is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the field of Moab. She said, "Please let me glean and gather sheaves after the reapers," and she has worked from morning until now with hardly any rest. Boaz approached, and look at what he said to her. "It has been told to me all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father, your mother, and the land of your birth, and came to a people you did not know before. May the Lord reward your work, and may your full pay be from the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." "Stop here," Boaz said. "It has been told to me all. Do you understand the weight of this?" Ruth's silent acts in Moab, even before she arrived in Bethlehem, had already traveled. People were commenting. Her reputation had arrived before her. That is why, when you think no one is watching, pay close attention. People are watching more than you think. The invisible networks of testimony work with an efficiency you cannot track. And heaven, that one, is seeing absolutely everything, recording absolutely everything, and preparing the delivery at the exact moment. Boaz became Ruth's redeemer. They married. They had a son named Obed. Obed had Jesse, Jesse had David, and from the lineage of David came Jesus Christ. A foreign Moabite who gleaned grain in silence in a stranger's field is in the direct genealogy of the Messiah. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 5, lists her name there in black print. And Salmon begot Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz begot Obed by Ruth, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. Because of what? Because of gestures she made when she was devastated, without perspective, without visible promise. This is Deus's pattern. He takes the invisible and places it in the center of history. He takes the person no one counts on and transforms them into an ancestor of Christ. He takes the task no one wants and transforms it into the door to the next phase. Now the solution. And I will give it to you in 3 practical steps, which you can apply this week starting today. First step, stop doubting the weight of what you have already done. Sit down today, get a notebook, and write down 10 of your gestures from the past that no one applauded. 10. It can be a difficult call you made. It can be a night you cared for someone sick. It can be advice that changed a person's direction. It can be a forgiveness you granted without being asked. It can be a difficult decision that protected a family. It can be a betrayal silenced because you knew that exposing it wouldn't bring reconciliation. Write down 10. It may seem like a banal exercise. It is not. Research conducted by the Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, in partnership with Stanford University in the United States, shows that the deliberate act of remembering one's own acts of generosity significantly increases the sense of purpose and reduces depressive symptoms in adults over 40. When you remember what you did, you realign yourself with who you are. You reconnect with your own deposit. Second step, Do a small and silent gesture today for someone who cannot repay you. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. It can be calling an elderly person who you know lives alone and who never appears in your recent contacts. It can be paying an electricity bill for a family in your church without saying who it was. It can be writing a message of encouragement to a child, a nephew, a godson, without a celebratory occasion, without an apparent reason, just out of love. It can be leaving a sincere thank you to the building doorman, the office cleaner, the delivery person who climbs 7 floors with your lunch. Today's silent act activates Deus's Zakor system in your life. You are literally placing a new entry in the book of memory that is open over your history in this phase. Third step, and this is the most important, stop asking for recognition from the wrong people. If you are waiting for your father, your mother, your spouse, your boss, your brother, or that specific person to recognize you, you are asking for a return at a teller that doesn't have your money. The recognition you need is not in their hands. It is in the hands of Deus, and Deus has already recognized you. He is just waiting for you to stop collecting from the wrong place so that he can start paying from the right place. While you collect from those who don't have it, you remain a debtor to your own history. When you release the internal collector, the payment from above starts to arrive, and it arrives in ways you hadn't imagined. A door at work, an unexpected reconciliation, a proposal coming from someone you didn't even know was watching you. The Instituto Datafolha, in research on mental health and religiosity in Brazil, indicated that more than 60% of Brazilians between 40 and 60 years old report feeling that their work and dedication are not recognized. Almost 70% of the same Brazilians claim to believe in God in a personal way. Look at the contradiction. They believe in God, but they still seek human recognition as the final measure of their own value. This contradiction is what makes one sick, and it is what is cured when you reposition who your main auditor is. The Instituto de Pesquisa Econômica Aplicada, in studies on subjective well-being, and the Fundação Oswaldo Cruz, in research on mental health in aging, converge on an important point. People who maintain a sense of transcendent spiritual purpose present significantly better indicators of physical and emotional health after 45 years old. Science and faith on this point say the same thing in different ways. If you want to continue this journey of internal reordering, turn on the bell here on YouTube now. The next video, which will come out in the coming days, will deal specifically with the people who appear in your life in the next 30 days. I will show you 3 types of divinely programmed encounters that you need to recognize, and 3 types of encounters that you need to protect your family and your home from. Who is the Boaz who is arriving? Who is the Peter who will knock on your door? Who is the angel disguised as an ordinary person? Perhaps the delivery person, perhaps the neighbor, perhaps a new client, perhaps an old friendship resurfacing. This video will only reach you at the right time if the bell is active. Don't leave it for later. Do it now. I want to close this word with a direct reflection. You are in the middle of the month of May. Perhaps this is a difficult month. Perhaps there are bills coming due. Perhaps there are relationships cooling down. Perhaps there are heavy decisions on your back. Perhaps there is a situation in the family that no one understands. Perhaps there is a situation at work that no one sees. Perhaps there is an old pain that resurfaced without an apparent reason in the last few weeks. I didn't come here to promise you that heaven will open a rain of money next Wednesday. I didn't come to promise you that a figure of power will look for you tomorrow with a millionaire proposal. I came to remind you of a truth much deeper and much more solid than any easy promise. The God who remembered Cornelius, who remembered the widow of Zarephath, who remembered Ruth, this same God remembers you. And this remembering is not sentimentality. It is operation. It is movement. It is repositioning what was stopped. Psalm 56 verse 8 says one of the most beautiful phrases in the entire Bible. You count my wanderings, put my tears into your bottle. Are they not in your book? Think about this for a few seconds. Every night you cried in silence. Every time you drove to work with a heavy heart. Every difficult decision you made in secret. Every time you chose the longer path so as not to hurt someone. Every time you gave up a right of yours to preserve a greater peace. Everything registered, everything stored, Nothing lost. The God of the universe has a bottle with your tears and a book with your wanderings. You are not a person who is improvising life alone. You are being witnessed by the one who rules the stars and counts the hairs on your head. Therefore today, May 8th, I give you this word with the weight it deserves. You have not been forgotten. What you did was not lost. The people who needed it didn't call you, didn't thank you, didn't visit you. That's okay. Their thanks were not your pay. Your pay comes from above, and it is descending. You just need to stop blocking it by collecting from the wrong people. Take back the invoice that is in their hands, present it at the right counter, and observe what Deus does in the coming weeks. I'm not giving you a lottery number promise. I'm giving you a reading key that will change the way you interpret everything that will happen from here on out. If this word ministered to you, do two things with me. Share this video with at least one person you know is feeling invisible. You don't need to explain anything. Just send it. The right person will understand. Sharing this message is also a form of silent gesture. You are planting something that Deus will register in the book of your memory, and the Cornelius that you are will receive, at some point, the visit of the angel he was waiting for, in part because you helped someone reach this word today. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now, turn on the bell, and see you in the next video. In the next one, I will open a chapter that many people avoid. I will talk about the 3 divinely programmed encounters that are coming into your life still in May. Who is Boaz to you? Who is Peter to you? Who is the angel to you? And how to recognize each one without confusing them with the wrong people who will try to enter through the same gate using similar words. Don't miss it. You are remembered. May this word resonate in you this entire week. May every morning upon waking you say out loud, I am remembered. May the God who wrote your name in the book of memory lead you starting today, out of the tight places, into the wide rooms that were reserved for you since before the world was founded. In the name of Jesus, amen. And see you soon.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.